I hope you're all having a great day today. As you're probably aware, Magic the Gathering was created by Richard Garfield. Well, he didn't do it alone. In the early days, he had a lot of help from his friends at the University of Pennsylvania. They were called the East Coast Playtesters. Some of the more famous East Coast Playtesters are Scaff Elias, Jim Lynn, Dave Petty, and Chris Page. We'll talk more about Chris in just a minute. So, before the game came out, the first basic lands were just playtest cards. All the cards were playtest cards. And the name of the basic island was actually Islands. It was plural. So the playtest cards for probably Alpha, I haven't seen one of those, but playtest cards for Beta, Gamma, Ice Age, Menagerie, all those early playtest sets had Islands with a plural name as the card name. Now, by the time the game was actually released, the Alpha Magic set, the official released game, had Island Singular as the card name for the basic land. Now, so if you had a card name named Islands plural, would that make 2 mana? There was a card in Power Lunch, a playtest set called Power Lunch, and it was an island that made 2 mana. But that's kind of a tangent. So, back to islands. So the game came out, Island was a singular name, that's what they used, right? Mark Poole did the artwork for Islands in Alpha and Beta, and in Beta there was a new artwork of Island added to the game. A third version of the art. And it was actually a edited version of one of the previous versions in Alpha. They kind of flipped the image and changed the color a little bit. So, when Arabian Nights came out, it was originally going to have some different card backs. They decided not to do that. Instead, they created expansion symbols. And they were going to put lands in the set. Basic lands. And that's another idea that was scrapped. Now, you might know that the mountain was actually left on the sheet on accident. And so that's why we have an Arabian Nights mountain, but not other lands in Arabian Nights. So, back to Chris Page. He was one of the Alpha playtesters, part of the East Coast playtesters, pretty important person, and he was writing an article for Duelist magazine in the April-May 1996 issue. That's issue number 10. So he wrote a 2-page article in that issue all about the Islands card. And the article was also about how Island, singular, would be banned by the Duelist Convocation, later renamed the DCI. So, the idea here is that blue is a very powerful color. We all know that, right? So, blue was so powerful that in order to sort of depower them a little bit, the Duelist Convocation was just going to ban islands. You'd have to get your blue mana elsewhere if you wanted to play blue spells. And that would be a better solution than perhaps just banning all the blue cards. So this is what this 2-page article was about. But the loophole here is that there was this Arabian Nights Islands card. And because it had the S at the end, being plural, it was a different card name, technically. And so this card would not be banned. And you could use it to play your blue spells. Which of course meant everybody would want one. The artwork on the Islands card was also done by Mark Poole and depicted 2 islands with a ferry bridge in between them. That bridge earned it the nickname Bridge Islands. Here's a picture of some original art done by Mark Poole. According to the article, this artwork was going to be the new version of the Island card used in Beta. However, Mark didn't get it turned in time, and so they used the computer-altered version instead. Here's a closer look at that article if anyone wants to read it. Feel free to pause the video. The article does say that the 4 basic lands which aren't mountain were only in the first 2% or so of the Arabian Nights print run, and it estimates the quantity in existence between 400 and 600 copies of each card. That's compared to 31,000 Arabian Nights mountains. It says the only thing rare are artist-proof cards, which are about 50 copies of each card, and Proposal, which has about 9 copies. If you haven't heard the story of Proposal, that's the card that was made for Richard Garfield to propose to his first wife. These cards were already scarce when the article was published 25 years ago. It recommends that the best way to find these cards is to go to a convention or some kind of an event where vendors have a lot of cards. Find a big vendor, and then you go talk to them, and they won't have these cards out on display with the regular cards because they're so rare. So what you do is you have to use this code phrase, "Do you have a bridge to sell me?" Because these are bridge islands. And if they have something, then they'll know what you're talking about. Just in case you haven't figured it out already, Chris Page wrote that article as an April Fool's joke for the April issue of the magazine 25 years ago. Crazy things like Arabian Nights card backs couldn't possibly exist. Never seen anything like that before. And hope you all enjoy the rest of your day.